Hey guys, it's Ellen here, and you know what today is? Monday, so it's Mini Monday Madness. We're painting this cute little mushroom fairy house today. I show you how to draw this and paint this step by step, but if you're on my Patreon, you can download the traceable. Also, Patreon has a little bit longer of the video than I show here today, so if you want to check that out, if you're a member on the middle tier and up, you get the longer video than YouTube. If you haven't checked out my Patreon, you should go check it out. I have exclusive tutorials there on Thursdays, plus ad-free videos from YouTube here, and traceables that go with YouTube. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. And also don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials up. So without further ado, let's get painting. Okay, to start, I'm going to go over supplies. I have my 3-inch square. This is 100% cotton arches cold pressed paper. I'll be using my Princeton 8 long round and number 4. My palette, I'll go over the paints as I use them. And all of the supplies are in the description box. Just hit the words show more or the little V if you're on the app and click on that and it'll drop down and all the description. And the supplies and links to them are there. Paper towels, I'm just putting this on a piece of cardboard so you can see it better because white on white is hard to see. And I have my water jars up here. If you are a Patreon member, you can just download the cute little traceable. If not, I'll just teach you how to draw it pretty quickly. For mushroom, you're just going to draw a half circle. You're going to connect the line on the curve. You're going to take a line, curve it down this way, and then connect again with the half. And then you're going to go like this, and then you get a mushroom, right? And do the lines in here, you make little circles, whatever. And then the doorway, little window, things like that. And then the flowers are pretty straightforward, just as simple little flowers with little leaves and stems. And you can put whatever flowers you want, daisies, whatever. And I have some little greenery going out here. That's pretty much how you draw a mushroom. It's pretty simple. Half moon. Well, actually, I like to curve it. You can make them taller, like that. Cute like that. Little things like that. Voila. Just slow the video down if you didn't hear me explain it right. See? You're just curving. Make the curve. And a window. And whatnot. Okay. So let's get started. So I've already got mine already traced in here. And so I'm going to zoom in. And of course, I'm going to make my mushroom red. And I always like to mix my red. I use cadmium yellow deep with quinachradone magenta. And I get this nice, bright, intense red. There we go. Keep adding the magenta to get that red. Nice pretty red. So right now the paint is kind of creamy, not much water. Gonna clean up my brush. And I'm gonna water it down a bit. Right here, you see that? I watered it down. And I'm gonna fill the whole mushroom cap in. I'm gonna paint with gouache later to put the dots in. It just makes it a lot easier than to paint around it. So I'm gonna fill this mushroom cap top in. And so now when you're painting it, it's kind of wet and it's lighter. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to bleed in some darker red. So it looks kind of pinkish right now. Right in the top. Just filling all that area in that's going to be wet. So it's still damp. Then you can take that creamy mixture that you made, not the water section. This is like really creamy, kind of like wasabi if you eat sushi. And we're just gonna tap that in on the edges. What I mean by tap, just touching it on the edges. I mean, you can see this. It's bleeding inward. You see that? Let's keep going. Gonna add some more. Gonna keep adding a little more paint in here so it's bleeding a little more. Hopefully it bleeds nice. It gives it that three-dimensional look. See that? If I want a little more paint in there, just grab some of this paint that's a little watered down and just kind of put that in there more. Okay, yeah, I want it like that. So I want it to bleed a little more with a little bit of lighter in the center. I'm lifting up some of that paint because it's going to keep bleeding into the wet. Just like that. It will keep bleeding. Okay. Even then, still, if you take excuse me, a darker tone of this color, this red, grab some of that magenta, maybe a little Prussian blue. And this purple, add more magenta, a little bit of this yellow. Okay, and deeper, darker red. Maybe even a little crimson. You could just do crimson actually by itself. But I don't want it so deep burgundy kind of red. I want it just a little bit darker. And you can kind of tap that again while it's still wet on the edges. So it bleeds in. And you get this nice darker red. And that's it. I'm going to make, I could make the bottom of him, calling the mushroom a him. I could make it red still, or I could make another color. Hey guys, so this section, it's the stem of the mushroom. I'm just really showing you fast how I put it in there. If you're a Patreon member, you can hear me go over this really in real time. Just basically filling it in similar to the top half and flushing this all in. So here I'm just mixing up some orange paint. I have brilliant orange watercolor, or you can mix up orange using your yellow and your magenta to make a bright orange. But I have this really nice bright, brilliant orange watercolor that I have, so I'm going to use some of that, maybe put a little yellow in there and start mixing up the flowers. Don't worry about the center, because I'm going to go back in and paint that actually black. So I'm just going to go fill this in. I'm still using my Princeton 8. I'll probably end up using the 4 for the windows. So I'm just flanking the mushroom with this orange color. Voila. You know, you don't have to paint these flowers. You can paint daisies or tulips or whatever you feel like. I just do these kind of simple ones in. Lifting up all this color. A simple pink for these ones over here. So just water down my magenta till it's a nice pretty pink. See that? When it's get really watery like that, you just take your brush and just put it on the paper towel and remove some of that water. It's pretty much that simple. It's pink. Pink flowers, orange flowers, yellow flowers. Careful painting next to the other one that was just painted. If it's still wet, I'm going to have to go back in and fix that because it's so close. So we got the pink. I might do another pink flower over here. Actually, I have a little bit of rose that I left over here. Actually, no, I don't want 2 pink flowers next to each other. I might do a little on the yellow side. A little yellow flower. Just to change it up a bit. So the green, I have my, I watered down olive green gouache, but there's olive green watercolor that's here too. That's really nice. It's kind of like a yellowy water green. I mix the two of them sometimes like this. So we can put the mound in like this and go back over later with the leaves. We'll just fill the mound in. It's probably simpler to do it this way. I'm not going to paint all the way to the edge. I'm going to leave a little bit of a white area. And again, with the same premise we did with the mushroom, I'm going to go back in and add some darker color. So I grab that green, it's more intense. Might even add a little indigo, make it even darker. I'm just going to tap it on the bottom here around the mushroom. Let it bleed in. If this is really wet, it should bleed in no problem. See how it's just bleeding in? You might want to keep adding if it's not bleeding enough. You know, I keep adding over here. Gonna add just a little darker green right on here, on this side. And a little under the mushroom. Under the mushroom cap, we can make that a brown color. I have my yellow brownish color, Van Dyke brown here. Got some green on it, so it's kind of a greenish brown. I'm going to water it in with the yellow here and the orange. Just fill this in here. It's like tannish brown color. We could use this for the door too. Put that underneath the mushroom cap. Just like that. And then we'll do the doorway. We're going to leave the white part. See if I fill the door. I have that little white area in between the doorway and the mushroom. And then for the window, darker brown. I'm grabbing some more of this Van Dyke brown. It's going to make a little, paint a little edge around the window. Here we go. The inside of the window, I'm going to have black and gray. I'm going to have the window, excuse me, the shutters kind of like a bluish green. So I've got my peacock green up here. Mixing the green to that. So I want a green but bluish green. Let's see how that looks. Maybe I'll look at a little bit lighter. You can make them any color you want. I'm choosing it to this color. So I'm going to grab the number 4 now because I'm going to do the inside of the window. It should be like a dark gray or black. And it's going to be tricky with the little window. If it's too hard to paint like this, where you leave the white in between each window pane, we can just go back in later and put gouache around it. Because it's really hard to do this. See, mine kind of messed up. So if you want to just fill it in like this, if you can leave a little white on the outside, just do that and we can go back in later and fix that. So I'm going to take some gray and do this chimney. Whatever gray you have works. I'm still using this number 4 brush that I have in my hand. Just a little light gray, and then if you want to do the cap darker, like a black, like an even darker color, you could do that. Chimney. That one kind of bled into the other one, so I can lift that color up a little bit. All right, so we're going to fill in this whole other area. I'm going to take that light green and kind of fill in here with the flowers there. So now we're going to do the flower stems. Again, it'll be a darker green, so I have my olive green, and then I've added a little indigo to that. So I have this nice dark green to make the leaves that you see in the sketch. Simple leaves with a stem. I always find that these skinny brushes are actually more encumbersome than the bigger ones. Takes longer to paint. Now see how there's white in here? I have to get any closer. See how there's white behind this? I might want to add a color. Either a green. So it feels like it's in a field. I am going to add some leaves in the back. So put a leaf here. I didn't say that in the sketch, but just this pointy leaves, some of these pointy leaves in the back. And I had one here. If you are a Patreon member, you'll see it in the traceable. I just realized I don't know why that's not traced in. But you can just add some leaves in. Simple leaves. Maybe some bright greenish yellow ones. Going in the back, which I'll do here. So you can add some bright green color here, and I can go back in and fill in that stem. Some bright green color back here, like it's in the woods. Another leaf back here, and we'll add a little leaf right here behind this flower. Or you could add another flower. I'm going to do probably another fun stem, which I have in the sketch. You can make it brown, make it green. The stem coming here. I can have one here. Have another stem coming out here. And then we do some little leaves off of that. Teeny, weeny little leaves. You could do little branches with berries. That would be cute. Giving you a bunch of ideas. And I'm going to have to go back in for this front leaf to differentiate it between the background. You pretty much get the idea though. And then you could put little berries in between those leaves if you wanted to. Might have one more, like I liked a curly one. It's not in the sketch, but you know, I always like to add. It's kind of how I roll. Could do another curly Q here. Little things. Gotta get that green a little bit darker in the front. Get kind of washed out. There we go. and the stem. Put a line down the middle of this one and this one. Put our stems in. For the grass, we could do like a nice pretty polka dot to go with the polka dot of the mushroom. A little teeny one. Ditzy, as they call it. Little ditzy polka dot. The doorway, I would take a darker brown, that Van Dyke brown, and make these little lines going down the doorway. And then on the shutters, you can have that darker bluish green going across for the shutters. This is where we're doing the details, and then the little chimney should be darker here. You know, watercolor does dry light, so gonna be conscious of like kind of going back and adding a layer. My little pink got a little messed up over there. That's okay. I might want to make it a little bit brighter. Pink, I added much brighter tone. Went right back on top of that. And do that over here too. Let's get this pink intense. You don't have to do that. I just chose to do that. You could put little flowers down here too. So again, with the dark brown, make the little lines from the mushroom kind of going inward like that. And outer edge. I am still going to add an even darker red just on the under here in the shadow and around by the flower, back in here too. These little details help. Get even darker. And a little darker brown shadow underneath the cap. There. Now, like for, I have a white gouache here. Let me zoom back a little bit. We're just going to take some white gouache. Consistency should be where you can manipulate it, and I'm going to flip this around so you can see. Clean up my brush. See? You can still move it around, but it's still kind of thick. And then we're going to put the circles. The dots. Some can be bigger, and then some tiny. Bigger and tiny. I like to make the various sizes. Just adds a little something to it. If you want them to even pop out even more, you can put like a little red around each one on one side. There we go. Just about done with this one, and a little dot here. Voila. Isn't that cute? Clean up my brush. Like I said before, I'm going to add just a simple black color to the circle. I mean, to the circle, to the flowers. I am going to put a white halo, and I didn't leave white, so I'm going to use gouache for that. See, simple black. Just really pops out those flowers. The window should be really black. It's not. It got really light with that gray. I use a gouache, black gouache. You can make the black. Watercolor, you're going to have to go over probably a few times because it's not going to dry as intense. And of course, the door knob. Just like that. And if you want to get even darker still under here, let me put a little black at the edge of that mushroom. Just fixing up my little chimney here. Okay. So that should be dry. Should dry pretty quickly. And go back in with the gouache. Fix the edge of this window. And just go right in here and put in those window panes. Look at that. It's like magic. It's so much easier to do with the gouache. You don't have to finagle painting around it. Right? So that's pretty much it at this point. If you want to like go in and do some real super details, like I said, you can take some darker red. Grab some of this. Just go in under here, under the windows, maybe around the door frame. You could put it around on one side of the mushroom polka dots. See how I just fill that in? But not necessary. Okay, so, once I finish that, you can go back in and just take the gouache and I just do a little line on the side here, curving down on each little interior of the black. That little halo just adds a little something to it. You can add a bunch of little pink berries in here, which I did, or red, whatever color you want to do, but I did the pink. Make them a little bit bigger. Oops. Or yellow ones, whatever one works for you. Oops. There we go. So big. See how I add those little berries right in here? And the little halo. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Also, don't forget to check out the Patreon. You can download the traceable over there instead of figuring out how to draw that. I mean, I showed you, but it's pretty simple. So thanks, guys, so much for stopping by, and take care, and I'll speak to you soon.